Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Main Scoop. I'm your host, Daniel Newman, joined by the other host, Mr. Greg Lotko. How are you doing? Yes, good to be back. It's another great day to be scooping.
Yeah, and we've got an interesting twist on our format. We've been kind of mixing it up lately.
Yeah, you know, it's been a lot of fun. We've been on quite a journey together. We've had lots of great guests, many great conversations. We've done it all over, you know. At some point, probably all over the world, but we've been all over the United States together, scooping away. And one of the things that we find ourselves talking to the guests a lot, we find ourselves talking a lot in the community, is about the workforce itself, workforce resilience, training, skills. Greg, you know, if you want to have an industry continue to innovate, continue to have an impact on the world, you got to keep the talent coming, you got to keep it fresh.
Agreed. And this is very much misunderstood in the mainframe space. People say, oh, there aren't skills or there aren't people that want to do this, and nothing could be further from the truth. We've absolutely seen this. There's a lot of new blood, people coming from other careers or early in their career, interested in learning about the mainframe and investing in themselves for a career.
Yeah, well, you know, just like any type of work or any type of job or any type of skill, sometimes it's about the training, sometimes it's about the skills you learn, sometimes it's the background, sometimes it's the variety. And for instance, sometimes it's like, in our case, it's going from being in the question asking seat to the question asked seat, and maybe finding someone that could do our job better than we could do it.
So that's about turning the tables here.
See what I just did?
With us today, we have the leader, our director of education and skills development at Broadcom for the mainframe software division. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Well, so we sort of kicked this off, got it underway, and it sounds to me like you wake up and every day you think about skills, you think about training, you think about workforce development. Interested, you know, sitting over here, Greg, like I said, we're usually the ones that ask all the questions. I think we're going to give her a chance to sit in our seat, but while we're still here, you know, how did we do? Did we get that off to a good start? Are those three things that are on your mind each and every day, Lauren?
Yes, absolutely. And working with our customers closely and identifying their challenges and how we can work with them to be able to address those challenges. What we're finding though is it's not about finding the skills, as there are a lot of people out there today that have the skills. It's just a matter of getting the right training. What we're really seeing is how our customers might be a little, with the planning itself, succession planning. That's where they're lacking a lot of that. And what we are trying to do is come up with offerings, not just us, but IBM, BMC, we're all trying to help our customers in instilling or offering education or even programs that could help them with the short-term fix and then the long-term fix.
So what you're saying is the aptitude, the capability is there.
Yes.
The people are there. They just have to understand that these opportunities are available to them, and they need companies that need these skills to invest and plan for the future, as well as to work with partners to train them. And you have a couple of people that are going to join you today. That's why you were talking about we're going to mix things up. We're going to turn over the program to you and let you bring on a couple of those people that are the future.
Are you sure? We're ready? We're ready to turn over the helm of the scoop?
I'm going to sit over there with my feet up and just watch her do the heavy lifting.
High foot?
There you go. All right,
let's do it.
I'm like, that's it. Well, now that they're gone, welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Hi, my name is Adia Sakura-Lemessy. I'm a recent graduate from Albany State University in Albany, Georgia, with a bachelor's in computer science, and now I am a new Vitality resident, part of cohort 7.
So I'm Glynn. I've been in the mainframe space now for almost 3 years. I implement software with 21CS, and I started back in June 21 after graduating college with a computer science degree.
That's great. Now, how did you first know or learn of the mainframe?
So I suppose I'll go first. Really, my first introduction to the mainframe was through a friend I had who was an IBM Z ambassador. This was during junior year of college. He talked to me about it sometimes, but it never really went through. It was kind of in one ear, out the other, something, big computer, runs credit card transactions, I think. And I didn't know more about the mainframe until during the spring of my senior year. I graduated in the fall. So during that spring, there was Share happening during our spring break. This was last year, Share Atlanta. And one of my professors told me about it, said he was taking some students from the computer science department. I was like, well, whatever, I guess I'm not doing anything for spring break, but I didn't really think that much of it. But then once I actually came to Share and got an opportunity to meet and interact with these people who were so passionate about this technology, people who had like long-standing careers going back, 20, 30, 40 years or more, that's when it was like, oh, I think I get it now. And at that point, I didn't get the computers yet. At that point, I just understood there's something about this community that I think has a space for me. And then from the conference, someone I networked with offered me an internship. And after that internship opportunity, that's when I really knew. I was like, I like this technology. This is what I want to do with my career. And I looked into the Vitality program, and now I'm here.
That's great. Great journey.
Yeah, right. That's great.
Thank you.
For me, I actually was offered a couple of mainframe courses in my college, which is like very, very foreign concept in most places. It was actually like a lifelong mainframer decided to link up with my school, and he taught one class a semester in the mainframe space. Like I took an intro to enterprise systems, and what really got me was I took a COBOL class after that, and I was like, wow, I've never even heard of this. And he's telling me, it's the backbone of the world. So it was really interesting to have the opportunity to get a look in. And I interned as a support engineer for a non-mainframe company. And then once I had finished college and I graduated, I got the opportunity to work support for 21CS. And I jumped on it, given my very little mainframe experience, and the rest is history. Yeah.
So with all the technologies out there today, especially the cloud, all that exciting technology, why choose the mainframe? Why did you choose?
Well, everybody in college, I want to go be a Java developer, I want to create video games, I want to develop front-end UIs, that kind of thing. And that stuff really never piqued my interest the same way as the first time I was like using a green screen, because that's not something that's regular. Nobody even knows what ISPF is. And it was super interesting then, as opposed to the regular, I'll call it the regular route, of just going, getting your computer science degree and getting into the development space in the, SaaS world,
To be honest, for me, I knew that I wanted to do cybersecurity. That was my concentration in college. And I hadn't thought that much about what I was going to do with cybersecurity. Honestly, I figured I was probably going to go to grad school straight out of college anyway, thought maybe by the time I do that, I'll know what I want to do. And I never really considered mainframe before the conference because I didn't realize that cybersecurity was its own full space within mainframe. And now that I know a little bit more about it, it seems really obvious that there would be, but having such a surface level understanding of a mainframe, I thought if you want to work on it, you're probably going to be a systems programmer. I don't think I want to do that. Spoiler alert, my opinion's changed. But in any case, once I realized the world of the mainframe is very large and vast, and that a lot of the things that I could have potentially done on, I guess, the regular world of computing, a lot of the skill sets that I could have applied were actually applicable to the mainframe. And then once I discovered that I liked working on the systems, working in ISPF and TSO, because I like that kind of problem solving, trudging through the mud to figure out how it works, that's what really sold it for me. I was like, okay, now this is how I know what I want to do.
That's great. And now with you, I know you've been working on the mainframe for a while now.
Yeah.
How do you move yourself from sufficiency to proficiency?
Got to read the manuals, Biggest thing, everyone says, read the manual. The thing about the mainframe space is everything pretty much is documented, and everybody in the space has so much experience that it's really important early in your career to just listen, take a step back and kind of understand what everybody's telling you. It may seem like a foreign concept at first, but it all does make sense, And
And coming to conferences.
Right, that does help.
I'm sure
There's so many
educational.
people. Yeah, there's so many people that I've met here that I've connected with afterwards, and I've been able to talk to. And
Great.
it's coming to these things. It really shows you the vastness of the space itself. And like 3 years ago, I didn't even know mainframes. 4 years ago, I didn't know they existed. So.
And how do you keep yourself up to date with or upskilling yourself? Do you use any additional tools?
I'm a big fan of InnerSkill.
Okay.
It's a great website with a lot of education on there. And beyond that, you know, just getting your hands dirty, getting in there, breaking things, fixing things, and like I said, learning from those around you, because the best resource is your mentorship. In this space.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what about you? I know you're participating in the Vitality program, so tell us a little bit more about that. How has your experience been thus far?
Thus far, it's been, I would say that it has been very good, very informative, but it has been at times a little overwhelming. Not so much that it's like I'm drowning, but as in, wow, there's a lot to cover here. I understand now that like there is how it takes decades for people to really get a high level of proficiency in this space. But you know, actually, as you were saying that thing about going from sufficiency to proficiency, I like the way you phrased that. It actually makes me think about, I guess, the non-technical response actually, beyond just the reading the manuals, the practice, writing programs and all that. Absolutely true that is important, and I agree. But also for me personally, a lot of it is just a mindset that I am capable of doing that. Like as in not thinking that where I'm at is sort of just so base level that I feel like worried about it, like coming into a new field, you're like, so much information. And it can feel like, I don't even think I'm going to be able to scratch like a tenth of this stuff, right? But actually believing, no, I can. Every person that is good at anything had to start without knowing anything. And realizing that is a big part of what allows me to, as you were saying, upscale myself, is realizing I can, if I put in the effort and the work and believe in myself, on top of all those other things. Because it's very easy to become stuck in a kind of self-defeating mindset, and that can make actually trying to learn that extra information so much harder. Like when you think that you can't do it or it's insurmountable.
Right.
So.
And when you feel awkward, it's usually, that means you're growing, right?
Yeah. It's like acknowledging that kind of imposter syndrome when you enter a new space and dismantling it and realizing, no, I have a space here, I do belong here, I just have to find my footing, that's all.
That's right. So what do you think your career trajectory will be?
You know, it's hard to say. It's already changed so much since I walked in the door. I always thought, you know, I'll just be a support guy forever, and you know, I'll debug programs, all of that. But now I'm implementing, you know, same vein where I'm dealing with customers and I'm helping them along the process. But I mean, in mainframe, sky's the limit right now. It seems, you know, there's so much coming down the pipeline in terms of modernization. Hopefully that gets more people on board, you know, from the younger crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that at the moment, I do know that I would still like to do something in the security space, but honestly, I'm feeling pretty open. I do think that I really enjoy working hands-on with the technology, and so my roles might be a little bit more in the background of things as opposed to sort of in the foreground, but really, I'm kind of just rolling with all the new information that's coming in, and I'm taking it sort of one step at a time, because I understand for myself, as much as I really hold on to this idea of like having really concrete long-term plans, a lot of times those shift and are very malleable. So now I've kind of taken to a perspective of when I know, I'll know. The same way through college, I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do until one day it was like, this is it. This is the thing. And so I just kind of wait for those moments, because when I really get that big spark of inspiration, I go towards that.
I love that approach. I really do, because you get to learn the different aspects.
Yeah, I really do.
Different aspects of the mainframe, and then you decide, hey, where do I really want to be?
Exactly. So you were saying kind of sky is the limit. So
That's
I understand there's a lot I can do and a lot that I can learn. So I'm just going to roll with it until I know where I want to be exactly.
See where it takes you.
Yeah, exactly.
So what would you say to others that maybe they're new to the mainframe or don't know anything about the mainframe at all, that would motivate and inspire them to have a career in the mainframe?
I suppose I can take that one first, if you
right
don't mind.
ahead,
But really, I would say the big thing is that even if you don't know anything coming into it, don't be afraid to come in anyway. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions, talk to people. I've found from my experience, the mainframe community is very welcoming and open to new faces, new people who are interested. You have a very passionate and forgiving community. It's all right if you don't know much about the technical stuff yet. There are people willing to teach you. There are people willing to answer your questions, no matter how surface level you might think they are. Get out there and ask them anyway. And if you kind of take that perspective, I think that's true of the mainframe, in particular, because we have such a nice community. But I also think it's not a bad perspective to take in life, to not be afraid to get in there. If you're interested in the field, come on in. Like I said, nobody knew everything at the start.
Nope. Nope. If anything, you're carrying your toolbox. You just keep collecting the tools as you go.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I would just say, ditch the fear of failure. Just jump right in. It's very intimidating. There's so much to learn,
It can be.
and it's there's so much history in the space. And like we said, so many people that know so much. It makes you feel like, God, I don't know anything. How am I ever going to live up to this? But just jump right in.
Let me be bold. Where do you see yourself in the mainframe trajectory?
There's so much space to grow in the space, and I've already been surprised so many times that it's hard to say where I'll end up, but I know that I'll be in the space, I don't see myself retreating or changing career paths. It's a great, great community. It's a great, great working space, and things like Share are awesome. There's so many opportunities to gather experience from people who've been at it their entire lives.
I mean, I personally, especially when I first entered and I'd get that kind of interview question of, where do you think you want to be? What kind of roles are you looking for? And I generally saw myself as someone who would be more behind the screen, right? So as I was alluding to earlier, I do see myself as potentially a systems programmer. But to be honest, I actually have received the feedback that I would be very good at being more on the front end, doing more of the communicating. It was suggested by one person that I would be good as a project manager. So I do see it as a perfectly viable option and something I would be open to doing in the future as I gain some more experience.
I could see you being an advocate for the mainframe. Both of
I
you.
would love to, actually.
Think bigger. Think bigger. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having us.
And again, you both are an inspiration, and we hope that you continue advocating for the mainframe.
It's been great being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Wow, that was fabulous. The energy, the enthusiasm from both of them. Who would have thought spring break for mainframers? That's great. I mean, I love to see that the future of the platform, that they're investing in themselves, that they're taking the time where, instead of going out partying, I'm gonna go to a conference, I'm gonna meet people, I'm gonna learn about future opportunities for my career. And then the maturity and the poise of both of them to realize and sense, hey, this is a community that's willing to give back, to help me learn, to recognize that anybody who's gone into anything new, they don't know anything to start. They have to learn. We all learned. And then the future is just endless. All the different opportunities and recognizing, hey, I've done support or I've done this, and maybe I want to be behind the screen. I might want to be in front of the screen. That's the stuff that makes you really understand the future, and that this platform is going to be in fabulous, fabulous hands.
Yeah, it's like the little secret of life that no one told you is what you do during your college spring breaks could be the difference in your career. But we may have just witnessed
in a variety of ways.
we may have just witnessed a few future CEOs up here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Your takeaways, Lauren?
Yeah, I mean, the passion that came through with both of them is unbelievable. The fact that they know that you have to build your toolbox, as I always say, you have to build up your skills in order for you to get to that next level. Yeah. So the fact that they are looking at career progression, where they want to go, that to me means even more. And the advocacy that they are doing for the platform is unbelievable.
That there's a foundation. And continuous learning. Fabulous, fabulous.
Yeah, I just really enjoyed how, and I think you used the words too, Greg, but how articulate for young professionals these days.
Articulate and eloquent.
I have at least one in their early 20s at home, and she continues to impress me, but they really grew up not actually speaking as much. They text each other, and so when you hear young, articulate, very competent and
confident,
and skipping spring break to do a mainframer conference, I'm like, you might want to hire that young person.
It's impressive, absolutely impressive. So let's wrap it up.
Well, Lauren, I just want to say, first, Did you like sitting in the host seat?
Do you want our job?
You want our job?
I'll do a little bit more of these, but yeah, I wouldn't mind taking it eventually.
She says-
That's my career progression.
Bingo, that was great.
She said she wants your seat.
But
I'll take
She
your
doesn't
seat.
know
Well,
as much
thanks.
about mine. But, Lauren, thanks so much
Thank
for
you. Thank you for
stepping in
having
and
me.
playing host.
It's an absolute pleasure.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining us for this episode of The Main Scoop. We hope you enjoyed learning from some of the young up-and-coming professionals in the mainframe space. For this episode, for Greg Lotko and myself, though, it's time to say
Dan
goodbye.
Newman.
It's me. Subscribe, visit us often. See you later.